Hi everyone and welcome back to the pod. This is Lora, the chairperson of HerCampus DCU for this year. I hope everyone had a really nice Christmas break. I know I did, and I hope January's just been really chill for you guys and isn't been too stressful with college starting back. But so we wanted to change up the content of the pod for this semester and start getting some interviews for you guys. So this week I interviewed Dwyer. She's not an influencer, she's just someone that I've known from Arklow for the last few years, and I just find her story really inspiring. So Fia basically kind of struggled with bullying in school because of her weight and kind of had yo-yo diets, and she's tried all the fad diets and basically just lost a lot of weight. And in September she went and had the excess skin removed from losing weight really quickly. And she had told me about, she basically had told me that she was going to get this done, and she's always been really open and honest with me, but I didn't think that she would be so open about it to put up an Instagram post about it. So basically she posted her before and afters, and it was really just not performative. It wasn't in an attention seeking way. It wasn't to say, hey, like, look at me. It was kind of just say, hey, look, I've gone through this thing and now I look like this, basically. And it was just really like ballsy and brave of her to do. And I basically texted her and I was like, look, I think that our listeners will be so interested to hear your story and your thoughts on body positivity and self-image. And she was really excited and said that she'd come on and do the pod. So this week I interviewed her, and I think if you've gone through anything similar to what Fia has, I think you'll really get a lot from listening to her thoughts on this. And yes, so as always, you can find us on social media at HerCampus DCU. And if you want to follow Fia after listening to the podcast, which you absolutely should, go look at her Instagram. She is stunning. You should follow her at queen_fi. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoy it. And let us know if you like this kind of content as well. We just want to get something different for you guys to listen to and just change it up a bit. So yeah, chat to you then. So Fia, welcome to the pod.
Hello, thanks for having me.
We are buzzing to have you on finally. So I just wanted you to kind of tell our listeners who you are, what you do for like work and stuff like that. And yeah.
So my name is Fia. I'm 21 years of age and I work in homeless services in Dublin at the moment. And that's really all.
And do you still commute from Arklow?
Yeah, at the moment I'm working from home, so it's not too bad. But yeah, up until I think about 3 weeks ago, I was commuting in and out of Dublin.
How are you doing? How are you working from
home? Because I switched jobs. So now I'm in.
You changed jobs since the last talk to you?
Yeah, so I've changed jobs.
Oh, cool. So what do you do? Is it still the same kind of thing?
Yeah, so what I'm doing now is I'm working in like a youth centre for people who are at risk of or experiencing homelessness, people aged 18 to 26. So I was doing a sort of like a internship, and then that finished up in September. So then I had my surgery and all in September, and then I interviewed for this job and then got that job and started in October. So
do you have more responsibility with this one?
At the moment, because I'm still sort of like learning the role and stuff like that, it's still like lots of learning. So I'd say it's around the same, you know.
I know what you mean. So I just wanted you to kind of start off and say like how this all kind of began for you with your surgery. So basically I decided I really wanted to interview you because you put up the post on Facebook about you getting your surgery, and I was like, this is huge, because we'd obviously spoken about it and like now on us airing all about like your loose skin surgery, and I wasn't expecting you to be so open with it. And I thought that the post that you put up on Instagram was so just like, to be honest, just fucking cool. Like you kind of the way you put it up was kind of like, it wasn't in an attention seeking way, it wasn't like performative, but you were just like, yes, I've done this. And just, that was it. Like, what was the kind of response that you got to that?
It was amazing. I was very reluctant to post it for ages. I wanted to put it up because like anyone who knows me knows that I had loose skin from losing weight, because like I had no issue like whipping it out and showing anyone. People would sort of be like, once they got to know me, like, relax, Fia, we've seen it, we know, like, it's grand, relax. But so I was a bit reluctant because I didn't know what to say, because I do think it's sort of a taboo subject. It still sort of is. Even when I was talking to friends after I got the surgery, and my mom was there, and she was like, no, you don't tell people about these things. I was like, why not? I was like,
why? I wouldn't have thought that either.
yeah, I think it's just probably their generation. Like, they would think that like plastic surgery and stuff, because that's basically what I got, is very taboo and it's hush hush and all that jazz. I was like, no, I went through a crazy thing, and I'm going to tell everyone about my experience, because it's just like, I just want to talk about it. I don't care. I'll talk about it if I like, you know.
But it like helps people as well. Did you get any girls texting you being like asking like how to go about doing it then after, or was it just more like well done?
Yeah, it was more like well done, and then some people would ask me like how I lost the weight, and then others were like, oh, I didn't know you had loose skin, or they didn't know I had that much and stuff like that. So
I had no idea though, because I remember saying this to you as well whenever you showed me, I think you showed me pictures before, but like you have like bikini pictures up on Instagram and you would have no idea.
yeah, that's what everyone was saying to me, because you're good at hiding stuff like that. I think when you have it, you'd be good at hiding, and it's all angles. It's all angles, and it's all photo. Like,
so good though.
literally, like, I tell you, and about 100 million photos just to put up the one photo, like, you know, that way.
So what age were you then whenever you, because I don't ever remember you being heavy, like, do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I think we only met, like, I know we only kind of met each other in the last few years, but I have always known you to be the size you are. Do you know what I mean? So what age were you whenever you were like, oh fuck, like I better do something about this?
So it was actually basically my whole life. So when I was growing up, like, I was bullied about my weight. Like, it was always brought out, like, always said to me, it was always pointed out, like, it was just like the elephant. So at what age was I bullied? Oh, like, for as long as I can remember. And it's not even just by, like, you know, random people or so-called friends. Like family would say it to you, but they're trying to be nice and all this jazz. But I was brought to like doctors because I was getting blood tests, and they were running so many tests to see like why I was so heavy, because no one could understand why I was so heavy. I was brought to like these little, I don't know what it was, but I was brought to like a group in like a hospital, and I'm assuming it was like these two nutritionists talking about like exercise and food and showing you how much fat is in like a lasagna, and oh, you shouldn't be drinking diluted and all this jazz. So it has been like an ongoing thing, and for like years and years I had struggled with like trying to lose weight and like how to go about it. So it's been like forever, but I think I started, like, I would always do those like quick fixes, you know, juice cleanses. I tried the raw vegan diet, which I would not recommend to anybody.
Right.
Because yeah, oh, it's just rough. Like, I've tried all the quick fixes, and I think like you have all these good intentions and you want to get it done and you're willing to put the work in, like with these quick fixes, like they're horrendous, whereas I just didn't have the right information, you know.
Like, was it for you, was it a health perspective where you were like, okay, I want to lose weight because of like the health implications, or was it like more of just an aesthetic thing where you just wanted to like look a bit better and like feel better in yourself?
I think it was a bit about, because like there was a few things, like there are a few things that really made me I decide like, right, I'm doing this properly. Was I went to Tato Park, and I was going on like the zip line with my sister, and I was like, right, this is grand. So I went on the zip line and I wanted to go back, and when I was going to go back, the chap who like connected to the zip line, he was like, no, sorry, can you stand on the scales before we do this? And I was like, yeah, sure, no bothers. So I stood on the scales, and he was like, no, sorry, you're too heavy. And I was like, oh, okay. I didn't know what to say. Like, I was shocked. I was like, don't cry, don't cry. Whatever you do, don't cry. Oh, I was in like secondary school, I'd say. Maybe I was quite young. I just have like all these like vague memories of like different things that happened.
Vile way to speak to a young girl though.
Yeah. And then I had to like walk back by myself, carrying like all my little harness and all. And then I just seen like, and like older men who probably were like twice my size flying across back on the zip line while I walked by myself. I was like, oh wow. I was like, right, okay. And
Do you
then
reckon
when
your man was just trying to be a prick?
I don't know, maybe, who knows.
What
I
is
was just,
it?
it just, I don't know, I just wanted the ground to swallow me up. I was like, right, just get me out of here. So I literally went down the steps and my sister was with me. She was like, oh, I'll walk back with you. And I was like, no, you're fine, pretending like this was nothing that affected me or whatever. I was like, no, it's okay. And then like years later, she was like, that's one of my biggest regrets, just letting you walk back by yourself. And I was like, yeah, it's all right though. It happens.
What worked for you then whenever you were trying to lose weight? Because I know that you said that you went to the hospital, you were like talking to the nutritionist. Like, was it the nutritionist that gave you the most benefit, or was it like, because I know that you've worked with like trainers like Kiki Fit and stuff. What did you find the most benefit for you?
So I've done like Unislim and all. So when I started doing Unislim, that was good. And I lost a good bit of weight. I lost probably 2-3 stone with Unislim. And then I went to college, so I didn't go to Unislim anymore, but I just kept calorie counting. That's what I found was the best, because I think the issue with when it comes to weight loss and people struggle with weight loss is because they don't have the right information, and it's always made so much more complicated than it needs to be. Like if anyone ever asks me about it, I'm always like, calories. And I know if you don't understand like how calories in and calories out work, like that can be very daunting. But it's literally like, the way I like to look at it is calories are your energy, and if you eat more energy than you're burning, then you're going to store it. And if you eat less energy than you're burning, you're going to use the energy that you've stored. So that's just the way that I sort of looked at it.
Do you not find the calorie counting just like exhausting? I can't do it. I get really bored. I get really pissed off, like having to limit what I'm eating and stuff. I get so pissed off with it.
Yeah, I actually don't mind it. When I started losing weight and stuff like that, I would actually calorie count in my head. So I knew like how much I had eaten. I don't know how I'd still done that, because then I discovered calorie counting apps, but like I knew how much I had for the day. So I'd be like, well, I had this much for breakfast and this much for my lunch and this much for dinner, so I can have this much for a snack. Like, I don't know how I done it, but that's just how it sort of worked.
For you then.
Yeah, but I do find like that is just the best way to go about it for me personally. I don't think there's actually any other way to go about it.
And like, what do you find best for doing like in the gym and stuff?
I really enjoy lifting weights, but I think it just depends on the person, because I would always say, like, if you're going to exercise and if you have weight loss in like as one of your goals, I would say pick something that you enjoy, because weight loss is so hard, not just physically but mentally. So you need something that when you're not feeling the best, because consistency really is key, like there's no other way about it, but when you're not feeling the best and you need to exercise, well, you want to exercise in order to achieve your goals, and you're doing something you don't enjoy, that can just be so damaging, and just you're not going to do it, that way.
That's another thing I wanted to ask you though, like about like how that affected like your mental health. Because I know it was, even whenever I was trying to lose weight in January, my head was like, it was kind of like ups and downs, but I got so obsessive with things I was eating. Like if there was something that wasn't on my meal plan, I literally you get so like freaked, like I started getting like freaked out by other foods and stuff, and I'd never been like that before. So how were you whenever you begun up until like now?
So whenever I found that I was on meal plans or I restricted myself, then that would cause massive, massive issues. So that's one thing I would always say is someone is going and looking to like eat healthier. I hate the word diet. I don't know. I just like, you have your diet. That's what you eat. That's your diet. But if you're looking to do a diet, I would always say don't look at it as food I have to, that I can't eat and stuff. Look at it as, what can I put into my diet to improve it? That's the way that I'd say look at it, because if you start restricting yourself and if you're like putting labels on food like good and bad, then it's just going to have such bad effect on your health, like a really, really bad. And I've experienced it myself. Like before going for the surgery, I was like, look, I need to go to counseling, because I was like, it's not going to solve all these problems. They're in your head. You need to work them out. And I know that counseling doesn't solve your problems, but at least it gives you the tools that if stuff starts to go bad, that you can, sit down and you know how to deal with it.
That's what I find with the two accounts, and it's like going into someone and then you're telling them all your problems and they're like, so how could you fix that situation? And you go, I don't know, and they're like, well, this is what you do next time. It's like literally like being reared again.
Yeah, literally. And it just gives you a different perspective too, I suppose. Sometimes I used to get annoyed when I was going to counselling because I was like, no, I want the answers, give them to me. And then it'd be like months and months later, I'd be like, okay, that makes sense now. And that actually helped at that time, even though it's not what I wanted to hear.
What were your friends and family like whenever you started like this whole thing of like basically trying to change your lifestyle?
They were all for it at the start. Everyone was like, oh yeah, this is great and stuff, because like, you know, they were all very worried that I was ruining my life, you know. But so they were all happy that I was being healthy and stuff like that. But then I think closer to like in more recent years, everyone was getting concerned, but they didn't want to talk to me about it because they realized how damaging commenting on someone's weight can be. So like no matter what size I was, I always just thought like, no, I'm not where I want to be. I'm not where I want to be. Like I would always have such a negative view on myself. And then they were like, I think they were scared to tell me like, no, you need to chillax. Like you're taking this a bit too far, because they just seen how badly affected I was by everyone commenting on my body previously, you know.
It makes it bloody worse though whenever you like you're already like talking shit to yourself in your head. Like I talk to myself when I'm on a treadmill even is actually awful. It's like keep myself going. But then going home and like you have someone going, God, you're eating turkey and rice for your dinner again. Like it's little like people get so involved in what you're doing and it makes you more anxious about. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. It's difficult. I think it's more mentally difficult than it is physically at times. Like honestly, it's just catching yourself and being like, look, just go easy on yourself, like, you know.
Do you think it would have been easier if you had like people in your family doing it with you?
Yes, there's been times like when I was doing like the raw vegan diet and all that jazz, I'd come downstairs and they'd have a chipper and I'd cry. I'd be like, you just don't know how hard this is for me. And they'd be like, just have a chip. And I'd be like,
it's me. They would like literally get takeaways and I'd be eating like bloody fucking chicken and rice again for like the 7th time. Like literally I was eating it 7 days a week. I was eating chicken and rice for my dinner every fucking day. And they would get like Chinese and stuff and it was just fucking cruel. Smell of it often throughout your fucking house as well.
Yeah, it is true. Yeah. I feel you on that one. It's difficult. Certainly test your willpower. I will say that.
Willpower isn't even the fucking word for it. But when did you go to your doctor and tell them that you wanted to get the excess skin?
That was like a long process for ages. Yeah, it was a very, very long process. So for years I just kept thinking like, no, it's just fat. Like it's just fat. I just need to get rid of the fat. And then my boyfriend was like, no, I don't think it's fat. I think it's excess skin. And I thought he was just trying to be nice to me. Like, I was like, yeah, whatever. All right, pal. And then my friend Lora said, she was like, look, I think that's excess skin. And I was like, right, 2 people are saying this to me now. So I started Googling it and I came across pictures and all. I was like, that actually looks like my stomach. So maybe that is the case. And then I just really put it to the back of my mind, chatted about it, said, yeah, no, in the future I probably would get the skin removed. And I had to go to a dermatologist for my psoriasis, and the skin surgery was on my mind. So I asked the dermatologist, like, if I got the surgery, would my psoriasis affect how the scar and all healed? And he was like, you've loose skin. I was like, yeah. He was like, is it okay if I look at it? And I showed him it on my arms, and he was like, oh wow, you do? And I was like, yeah, I know, I have a lot on my stomach, that's where I want to get it removed. And he was like, okay, can I see your stomach? And I showed it to him. He was like, oh wow, it's very stretched. And have you had kids? I was like, no. And he was like, oh,
what is such kids?
Yeah, I was like, no, I haven't had kids. And he was like, oh, it's very stretched. I was like, yeah, it is. So then he was like, right, okay, we'll do a biopsy on your arm to see if it's a problem with your elasticity in your skin or if it's actually from like losing weight. And I was like, okay, cool. So I got a biopsy done on my arm to test my elasticity. And then he came, like I went back up to see him a few months later to get my results and stuff. And he came in and he was like, yeah, no, it's not your elasticity. You must have been very heavy, were you? I was like, yes.
Jesus
yes, I was. Yeah, I was just like, yeah,
no one knows to talk about it appropriately. I swear to God.
Yeah, it's quite funny. Like some of the things that people would say to you, and they'd be like, "What? Show me," and I'd be like, maybe I might show you. I don't know. Like everyone, like once they say it, they don't believe it, and then once you show it, they're like, "Oh wow!" I'm like, "Yeah, I wasn't making it up, believe it or not."
Nice. So, how long did it take you then? Like, did you go on a waiting list or?
Yeah, I was on a waiting list, and then it was really just messing with my mental health. Like when I was exercising, it was just flopping around, and I would just like look in the mirror. I felt like it was like a barrier or something. Like I just like there was times where I really felt good in myself, and then I really felt horrible because of the loose skin. Like it just made me feel so upset. Like I'd be crying to my sisters because I'm just like, no matter how hard I try, I can't get rid of this. And they were like, my youngest sister turned around and was like, why don't you just go for a consultation? Like, what's the worst that can happen? I was like, right, okay, cool. So I booked in for a consultation in a plastic surgeon's office, and my mom came with me, and she was like adamant. She was like, no, you don't need surgery. Like you'll be able to work this off. She was really hoping that I wouldn't have to go through the surgery. And my other sister was like looking up all the information. She was like, and you're going to need to have drains in your skin. And
So you have like it's like the angel and the devil on your shoulder. Your mom's like, don't do that, hon. Your sister's like, well, here's what you need to do.
Yeah, and she's like, and you have to wear like a brace around you for a few weeks. And I was like, okay, cool. And so my ma came with me in hopes that the surgeon would say like, no, it's all in your head, or no, it's not that bad, you can exercise or whatever. So I showed him my skin, and he was like, look, you won't get rid of that unless you have surgery. And he was like, yeah. My mom was like, oh really? And so we had the conversation, and he was just saying like, look, you're 21, is this what you want to do because you haven't had kids yet? And I was like, yeah. I was like, well, I don't know, what would you recommend? He was like, how does it make you feel? And I was like explaining how I felt, and I just burst into tears. And he was just like looking at me like I had 10 heads, and he sort of looked and he was like, ma'am, what do you think? And my mom was just in shock. She was like, I think she should go for it, because I was hoping that you say that there was other options, but it seems like this is the only one. I think it would benefit her. So like straight after that, I just booked it. I was like, right, we're going for it now.
Do you reckon that's what made your mom realize how serious you were about it as well?
Yeah, I think everyone sort of knew that I was serious. I think she was just hoping that there was another option and that I wouldn't have to go through surgery, because it was a very big surgery.
Yeah, I think the idea of like her kid going on an operating table for something that seems elective, but it obviously isn't. Like that was having such an impact on how you feel about yourself. Like so I can't imagine how frustrating that is as well. Like the amount of work you put into have like making yourself feel better, and then you have like this awful consequence of skin that you have to get bloody removed. I didn't and even either.
Sorry,
I didn't know you had to get it done on your arms either. I thought it was just your stomach.
Oh no, I didn't get it done on my arms. I showed the surgeon. I don't really mind my arms, actually, to be honest. I don't really mind them, but I showed the surgeon. He was like, no, look. He was like, there's like a different procedure that they do where they like tighten or something. He was like, we don't have that at the moment, but if we ever got it in, you'd be perfect for that. I was like, all right, cool. He was like, I wouldn't. He was like, there'd be no point in you doing your arms.
Okay.
So, well, yeah, I do have it on my arms. I have my little scar from my my biopsy, but it's actually not that noticeable. But
and do the scars piss you off?
No, I really like scars. I know it sounds weird. I love scars. I'm like, they tell a story. You know?
That's what I think too. I think they're like very individual to the person too. It's like a tattoo that you ask for, but it's still like you. Do you know what I mean?
I'm the same with stretch marks. I love stretch marks. I love scars. I'm just mad for all that stuff.
It's like, it's one thing that's so common with women though, but it's the one thing that we're all so desperate to get rid of, like throwing fucking bio oil on ourselves. And bloody Kim, like the person I always think of was like Kim Kardashian, and how like, you know, the way you always see her on the show and she's getting like all of her fucking stretch marks lasered off and her cellulite and shit, and it's like, why? We all fucking have it.
I love all that stuff like that. It sort of reminds me of like people are like snowflakes, because like no snowflake is the same, you know? So that's the way I sort of think of it.
That is poetic. Oh my god.
Yeah, you can quote me on that one now.
How's your recovery going with the surgery? Was it tough going to be in it?
Yeah, it was. Oh wow, I didn't realize like how serious it was going to be, I was like, oh, after I get my surgery, like I'll be back up and running in 2 weeks. And everyone was like, no, you won't. And I was like, yes, I will. I'll be fine.
Was it before or after you got
it? Before I got my surgery in September.
Oh, September. It was September. You put that post up like literally weeks ago.
Yeah. See, I've had it for a while actually. Yeah, now thinking of it, everything's sort of mashing together.
December.
No, the scar, I'd still have like I'd have to wear my corset thing. I had to wear that for like 6 weeks.
How is it wearing the brace? Is it uncomfortable or is it okay?
It was uncomfortable at the start, but you got used to it, and by the time it was coming off, I was like, I'm actually going to miss that corset yoke. But yeah, it was rough. No, I was like, I will miss it. I won't. I didn't. He was like, when I took it off, he was like, you can burn that now. I was like, I will be. It's like stained in like blood, because I was like, I came out of the operation and they showed me my stomach and there was just blood everywhere. I was like, oh, that's rough. And I had to get like a brand new belly button. So that was a different experience.
Just put that on your Instagram. I think I remember hearing you say that and I laughed so much. I was lolling. A new belly button was gas.
Yeah, because I was joking about it with my friends before going in, because he was like, when I was in my consultation, he said that like there is a chance you can lose your belly button, but he meant like you could just die afterwards. But then when I was getting like marked up for the surgery, he was like, yeah, no, I think I'll have to give you a new belly button. And then he had to, because the stem was so long, whatever that means. So I was like, okay,
that is
cool.
That's fascinating, but it's also just like, you literally got a belly button.
It's crazy.
Like,
yeah, I got a brand new belly button. Like, it's crazy.
What would you say to girls thinking about going for it? Like, was the experience worth it, or was it
100%?
Oh, okay.
110%. Like, I'd go for it in a heartbeat again. Now, that being said, like, I know loads of people, like, whenever they talk to me about like losing weight or whatever, like how much weight I've lost and all that stuff, and then they hear I've got loose skin, it nearly turns them off, like going and losing weight. And I'd always say, no, I would much prefer to be the size I am now with the loose skin. Like, I just feel better. Like, I can walk up and down places without being out of breath. And although the skin made me self-conscious, I still would pick that over the way that I was, just even health-wise, you know?
What do you think was most beneficial for just like your self-image, like how you look at yourself? Was it losing weight to begin with, or was it getting your surgery?
I don't know, because even now, like, I'd still feel self-conscious and stuff like that. I think it's actually more to do with how you view yourself mentally, you know? So I think that's something you should work on. For ages, I thought it was like, oh, I'll lose the weight and I'll be happy. I'll lose the weight. When in reality, no. And that's why I started to go to counseling, because I knew that getting rid of the loose skin isn't what's going to make me happy. It's work it on myself. That's what's going to make me happy, you know? So I would never say like lose the weight to make you feel better about yourself, or get rid of the loose skin or whatever. I think you have to really work on yourself.
Do you think that the work that you've done on yourself then in like counseling and like mentally has been nearly bigger than the weight loss and the surgery and all that? Or do you think
Not really
work together?
Yeah, they all work together 100%. I'd say they all work together, because yeah, like as you said, and as we both said, like it is very mentally challenging, and it will have you like thinking about yourself and things in completely different ways, you know? It's very, very rough. And as well, like I find like I never ever seen myself as big. I did. I've always seen myself as big. Actually, I've just always seen myself as the size I am now. So when I was losing weight, I couldn't see myself losing weight. I could just see myself as I am now. Like, I've always been this size. So when people would be like, oh, loads of people would come up and say, no, you're a nice size now. Now leave it the way you are now. And, oh, no, you're too skinny and stuff like that. And you're just like, just until you are a qualified doctor, please don't talk to me about how I look.
I always find the people that do things like that are not your closest friends and family either. They're like random acquaintances that you might meet on a night out. It's like, where did you find the authority to come and tell me how I should be looking?
So bizarre. And I know like some people think that it's beneficial or whatever, but I'm just like, no, don't comment, especially if the person can't change that stuff after that comment. So like, say if you've got something on your teeth and someone's like, yeah, you have something on your teeth, yeah, that's grand, you can wipe it off your teeth. But if someone's like, yeah, you need braces, you're like, all right, sound pal, but there's nothing I can actually do about that. Like, it's just, there's no need for stuff like that, you know.
I think people mean well when they're trying to do it either, but
Mm-hmm.
I don't care if you're telling me that I look great, you've lost so much weight. All I'm thinking is how fucking big was I before?
Yeah, that's
You know,
another thing. And I think as well, like the compliments are addictive, you know, like you'd nearly start losing, like they can really go to your head, like you'd nearly start doing it because you want others to comment on you,
yeah.
and to like, you need the validation from others, and no, when in reality you just need it from yourself, you know.
Would you advise anyone trying to do what you're doing to work with the likes of PTs and that kind of thing? Like, do you think the value in the money that, because I know that like we've all, like both of us went to the same trainer for a while and we just gave her a rake of money, like would you point someone in that same direction if they were to ask you what do you think we should do?
I think it depends on the results that they want. So if you want, like, say if you're prepping for like a holiday or something, it depends on the type of personal trainer that you're going with too. I think if like getting meal plans and stuff like that, personally, that didn't work out for me. I found it very restrictive, and it was like I then resulted in like self-sabotage, eating rings around myself, and then feeling horrible. Like it was just a vicious cycle. Whereas I have worked with other trainers who have just given me a plan and given me like a calorie goal and a protein goal, and I would decide myself then what I want to incorporate into my diet. And then it gives you sort of a knowledge of like, right, okay, so I can incorporate this much in. And I think it gives you a bit more of the control, and it means that when you're not with that trainer, you still know what to do food wise if you ever decide that you want to lose weight or live a bit healthier, you know.
And just to kind of finish it up, what advice would you give to girls like our listeners and like anyone kind of younger, because I know that we have some like girls in secondary school that listen to us, like what advice would you give to them regarding like the bullying, just like the self-image, all of it? Like
just be kind to yourself. That's something that I really would say. And others' opinions of you don't mean anything, you know, like especially when it comes to your appearance, because you're not just your appearance. Like you've got so much more than how you look. So just be kind to yourself.